Hi there. In this video, we're going to look at free payment and fintech infrastructure crypto, including XRP, XLM, and XCN. Okay, as usual, I'll cover their Wyckoff stage, their price trend change potential, as well as key price levels. These are education content only, not financial advice. And to help you avoid FOMO and panic, the asset tech dashboards are now available on Substack. Go check it out on their mobile app or the website. The handle is XLM. So let's start with the weekly chart of XRP. Here, we are seeing that the price has been range bound between 1.35 yellow key level all the way to 1.54 green key level. Okay, it has been like that for 7 weeks already. And as shared before, when I look at the chart, it looks to me it is entering or very close to the panic over stage. When I look at this, if you compare to what happened over here, after the series of continuous price drop, eventually it gets to a point where the volume starts to fall and also the price doesn't continue to drop. It is getting very similar to that stage, but the volume I'm still observing, because if you enlarge it, you can definitely see this volume isn't really as low as the other periods back in summer in 2025. So sometimes it would happen that way, but that's why we have to be cautious, because if you compare to what happened here in 2022, you clearly see there's a point that the volume gets to the lower level, especially when you compare across. It's very, or almost exactly the same as the low periods a year before. As of this moment, it is still not the case. So if we compare to what happened a year before, the low is around here. Yeah, around here. So that's why I'm not declaring it that we are certain the panic over stage has arrived. It may be because it's by observing the pattern, sometimes we need certain confirmation to come in. One thing I did mention in the past is that an automatic rally could well be that confirmation, but that hasn't arrived yet either. So we can say Ripple is entering the early accumulation cycle, but whether it has completely fulfilled the panic over stage is too early to tell. So again, during the accumulation cycle, expect the whales are going to check out the paper hands and keep only the diamond hands, or until they have diamond hands left while they're doing these kind of price shaking. All right. And then that's when they conduct the accumulation along the way before they let the price shoot up. If we go to the daily chart, Ripple hasn't really gone outside of the downtrend that started summer last year, around late July. Okay, it looks like it is trading sideways. Understandably so, if people are telling you that, because for 1.5 months, 44 to 45 days, it has been really trading between the yellow and the green key level, like I said in the beginning. However, this is not outside of the downtrend. It is still well within the downward channel. So by the time when it gets closer to the end of this month, and then eventually 21st of April, or if it stays between the current two boundaries, till mid-May, we'll see 3 different opportunities that the price can go outside of this channel and confirm the downtrend is over. Okay, it's still not there yet. March 20th, I mentioned that when the price gets closer to this tip of the triangle, we'll get a confirmation whether the price will once again go back to trade on the stronger half of the channel. So it gets closer to those time windows that I mentioned, and indeed it happened. So the confirmation basically came on the 15th. All right. And it continued to stay above this downtrend center line. So let's move this across. In case it drops below the orange key level of 1.23 like it did briefly at the beginning of February. This date points to the 31st of May. So the way it can happen is that given the other time windows that I mentioned, March 30th, 21st of April, 16th of May, this one is a little bit more pessimistic scenario. In case the price continue to drop and force through the 1.35 yellow key level, it will come to test the 1.23 key level. And if that happens, and it either the sideways trend range widens or it trades at this narrow gap between the yellow key level 1.35 and orange key level 1.23, then the likelihood of XRP having to wait till end of May to confirm the downtrend is over becomes more realistic. As of now, we're still, far from that. So let's focus on the March and April dates and see what's going to happen when we get there. Next is Stellar, XLM. So for Stellar, it's very similar to Ripple, is entering that panic over stage. It might have arrived already, and by looking at the volume, it looks better than Ripple, because this volume, if you compare across like a year ago, it is definitely at the low. All right, so the situation is a little bit different, even though the chart or the candlesticks pattern may look the same. As for the range, Stellar you can say it's trading sideways between the light blue key level of 13 cents 80 all the way to 17 cents 20. Sometimes it goes above this purple key level of 17 cents 20, but it hasn't closed above it from a weekly time frame perspective. When we get to the daily, things may be different, but you can see these long wicks from the top, right? It always goes back at least for the past 7 weeks. So that's the big picture. And if this is really the panic over stage, the selling climax, what we expect, according to the Wyckoff method, is something called automatic rally. So that's, you can say, a mini rally that goes to a certain resistance level and then comes back down. That's going to set the trading range top for this accumulation cycle, like what happened back in 2022, 23. Okay, once the price gets to a point where the volume drops very low and the price doesn't go lower, it then comes with an automatic rally that sets the trading range top. Back then, it was around 15 cents 70. And subsequently, when volume comes back, look at these white bars, and price climbed. It climbed to re-challenge that particular level. And that's the mid-late stage of accumulation. And subsequently, the price retraced, the whales did the last bit of paper hands shake out, consolidate, and then that's when the next FOMO came in back in 2024, near the end of the year. Having this as a backdrop, okay? Now let's get to the daily. Similar to Ripple, but earlier than Ripple, Stellar has been trading on the stronger half of the downward channel since the Valentine's Day. Okay, and we can see it briefly closed above the 17 cents 20 for 2 times, just one day for both times, 14th of Feb, 16th of March. And the very next day, it started to decline. March is a little bit better because the next day still closed above the purple key level. Okay, there's a slightly different scenario over there, but at the end, it still comes back to the blue key level of 15 cents 70. It's still midway right now because last time actually more than 2 times. This entire period is basically trying to retest the purple key level, but then it drops 3 times. Okay, first time, second time, third time to this support level of 14 cents 70 roughly. This yellow dashed line over here. That's a support level set by the 5th and the 6th of February. Okay, you see these 2 large candlesticks over there. That's where we get the trading range. Okay, it dropped drastically from the purple key level to this yellow dash line. Finding support, you see the long wicks, especially on the second day when the price reclined. But then the bears hit the price back. So the price closed, you can say 25% within this range, lower than the purple key level. So that's why from then onwards, for the past almost 2 months, 1 month and a little bit more than 1 month, let's put it this way, since late February, early February actually, sorry. Let's draw a line over here to see exactly how many days we have been there. 43 days, yeah, 1.5 months roughly. And it looks like it's still continuing this trend. So similar to Ripple, here are some indicative dates. I mentioned this stretched target, okay, when the price was surging last week. And obviously, it did not happen as expected. I already mentioned last time that it has to have a miracle, a very crazily positive announcement in order for the price to shoot up like that and breaking both the downward channel ceiling and the red key level of 0.195. So let's bring the day across and use it over here, because the next dates or the next opportunities for the price to confirm that Stellar is going outside of this downtrend again started way back in summer, similarly, mid-late July last year. It's going to be over. Those are chances, not a certainty, because when the price trades closer and closer to the ceiling of the downward channel, and gaps between the ceiling and a support level, it has only 2 options. 1, it breaks below the support and continue with the downtrend. 2, it breaks the ceiling of the channel and confirms the downtrend is over. So these are the occasions where the line crosses. Okay, so that's one more date if it drops below the yellow dash line, but currently it hasn't done it yet. So let's not assume that scenario for now, because 3 dates are more than enough for us as of this moment. The first date is 22nd of April, exactly a month from now. So 3 dates over here, each roughly about 10 days apart. When we get to that point, we will take a look and see which one is more likely. Interestingly, all these dates are well before the new Fed chair comes in. So either the private credit crisis news died down, or like resolution appeared, things get resolved, or the Middle East war, slightly, I would say, de-escalate, then the possibility of confirming the downtrend is over would become more realistic. There's 1 month for all those events to develop and evolve, so it may happen. Otherwise, if those 2 doesn't change and then April pass, the new Fed chair comes in, assuming the downtrend continues, okay? Then we are going to step into this May timeline. So if I extend this box by a little, you can clearly see, I just want to make sure I have them, yeah, they're still intact, okay? Just checking the reference point, whether they're still touching the boundaries. So that's the likely level is still within April, but the green, if the price ever drops to the 12 cents 10 level, that's getting into early May already. Actually mid-May 11th. All right, so we'll get back to that once we get into April. So no rush. Now, XCN, Onyxcoin, currently dropping by quite a bit, 18% as of this week. I did mention it has gone through the panic over period. You can clearly see after a series of price drop with some buying the dip long ways from the bottom, the volume has gone to a very low level compared to the year before. Okay, you see all these low. And given that panic over staging period, we said, according to the Wyckoff method, there should be an automatic rally. And indeed, it happened. It closed at the orange key level of 0.0096. And that's why when the next time, after a bunch of tests by the whales to check out the paper hands, when people start to come back to Onyxcoin and show us the sign of strength, the expectation is for the price to at least challenge the same orange key level. Okay, if it only stops at levels lower than that level, I would say it's not that it can't be a sign of strength, but I will give it like a grain of salt whether that's the case. Okay, the likelihood of it bouncing back or even testing deeper may follow in those scenarios. So just take what happened in the past as an example. December 2023, automatic rally, came to challenge the green key level back then, 0.20029. Subsequently, you see the bunch of white volume bars, higher than average volume compared to the previous period. Sustained price climb, challenge not only the green key level, but also the level above. That's what we want to see and expect it comes back. All right. The shaking will continue, shake out of paper hands. Sometimes, the accumulation cycle takes very short period and the retracement doesn't go as deep. After a series of consolidation, it then launched to the next distribution. But a lot of times, the test can go deeper or even deeper than the panic over stage. So just to let you know, the downside risk, even if you think, okay, the sign of strength has come in and maybe it's a good time to get in, just be careful. There are still shakeout that can happen. All right. Daily chart, Onyxcoin. Previously, we talked about, a potential uptrend forming, even though the base case is sideways between this yellow dash line, again, similar to Stellar. This one is 0.00446 to the total key level of 0.0063. So 46 to 63. That has been the case since the price dropped to this range in, January, late January, 30th of January. So since then, the price has been bouncing between those two lines I just mentioned. And this box over here, I think we drew this last week or the week before when I said, okay, there may be a chance that an uptrend is forming. So let's draw a channel box and see whether that's the case. And it looks like, that hypothesis doesn't hold. I said that by 29th of March, the latest will get an answer because that's where, once again, the key level crosses the boundary of the channel. And we do not have to wait till then. It actually confirmed a few days right after we held our last session. Okay. So assuming this is not the case, let's take out this box and assume the base case is still range bound. All right. You can argue, how about if it's not going up? What if it's trending down? This is a very narrow gap, and we don't have much references. Okay, and at best, if we really have to draw a downtrend channel to measure whether this is really the case. Okay, because it has been dropping for 7 days, and some people would ask, would this be a new downtrend being formed, and it's going to head towards the lower support? Okay, you can see all those support levels, so I'm not going to call them out one by one. If this is really the case, we talk about the range is between the purple and the yellow dashed line, right? So this, the downward channel, assuming if it really exists, the point where it crosses the yellow dashed line is 30th of March. So just slightly more than a week from now, depending on where you're sitting around the globe, we'll get an answer, all right? Whether it's going to stay range bound, finding support along this yellow dashed line, and then break this ceiling, or is it going to continue downwards? It hasn't happened since the beginning of January. Okay, in December last year, it did. It briefly came down to the light blue key level of 0.004 for 2 times. Okay, before it launched that automatic rally. Now it has come back to a similar case. So this, when it dropped back, it tested the purple line multiple times, and then eventually dropped back to below the yellow dash line. So I don't want to see something similar happen, but it's a chance. Okay, so if you're interested to access these sessions 2 days earlier than the others, join the rest of the members now. And remember, the Avoid FOMO, Avoid Panic dashboards are now available on Substack. See you over there as well. See you in the next session. Thank you.